Greetings and welcome to America in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I'm Dan McCaleb, Chief Content Officer at the Franklin News Foundation, publisher of the Center Square Newswire service. We are recording this Friday, March 8th. Primary elections in 15 Super Tuesday states this week all but assured a rematch between Democratic President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in November. Trump's dominating performance, winning by huge margins in 14 of the 15 states voting, forced his only real remaining challenger, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, to exit the race. Barring significant new questions about Biden's memory and age and a potential conviction of Trump in the 4 separate criminal cases against him, a repeat of the 2020 presidential race is all but certain. Joining me today to discuss the presidential race is the Center Square's Washington, D.C. Bureau Chief, Casey Harper. Casey, you covered Super Tuesday for the Center Square and Haley's departure from the race the following day. What are your top-end takeaways?
Yeah, that's right. I would say it's been a really good few days for former President Donald Trump. He had, it may seem distant memory with the pace of this news cycle, but the Supreme Court kept him on the ballot in Colorado and other states, right? So he had a big win there. The kind of insurgent effort to remove him, I mean insurgent, metaphorically. Now the way that insurrection's tossed around, you have to clarify that. But, this effort within the states to remove Trump from the ballot failed with the U.S. Supreme Court, a major win for Trump. Then Super Tuesday comes around, as you said, really a shellacking for Haley, who was unable to hardly win any states except Vermont. Just before that, she lost South Carolina, which is a state she was governor of. And then she drops out, clearing the path for Trump, cementing his dominance over the party. And I think in a way, it was better for Trump to be challenged and win, because if everyone just kind of stepped out of his way, that would be fine for him and he would be the nominee. But because people challenged him and he so dominantly just crushed them, it makes him seem like an inevitable frontrunner. It helped him build momentum and seem like the will of the people was behind him, like he has this moral mandate, like Trump is back 2016 style. Trump's whole mantra is you're going to be tired of winning. You're going to be winning so much, Dan. And so to see him win is good for Trump's brand. It's good for building momentum for him. And now it's a general election face-off. And I think we've seen that in the rhetoric of both Biden and Trump. They have turned their attacks on one another. After Haley dropped out, Trump turned on Biden. He called him the enemy. And then in the State of the Union address, Trump was basically live tweeting on his social media outlet, Truth Social, just picking apart different moments of Biden's speech. Some of the attacks were kind of a sillier, classic Trump move, making fun of Biden for coughing so much. But some of them were substantive critiques about the border, about the vaccine. Biden was touting the vaccine, but Trump was pointing out that he's really the one who developed the vaccine in his last year in office. So Biden and Trump are at each other's throats. This is not going to be a gloves off campaign. The attacks have been fierce and fast, and now it looks like a one-on-one face-off.
When Nikki Haley dropped out of the race on Wednesday of this week, Casey, she notably did not endorse former President Trump. She actually worked for President Trump as the UN ambassador to the United Nations. What do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, I think Haley's thinking long term. She congratulated Trump. She said, "I wish him well," but then gave the caveat of, "as I would wish any president well." So just to be clear, I'm not specifically just wishing Trump well. I'm just, wishing generally any president well. And then, like you said, she didn't endorse him. I think that, Trump is very old. Biden is very old. In 4 more years, we're going to be looking for a new set of candidates. And I think Haley has that in mind. And that's why she stayed in the race so long. She was able to get a lot of money as the anti-Trump candidate without just attacking him constantly. She attacked him, but in a kind of tactful way. She didn't attack him the way Democrats did. She attacked him saying it would be bad for the Republican Party because they're going to waste all their time on Trump's lawsuits. She attacked him in strategic ways where she didn't just seem like a rabid anti-Trumper, although she did upset a lot of pro-Trump people. I think she was trying to toe that line. She spent a ton of money on ads in very important primary states to build her name recognition. She established herself as a top tier candidate. And so when this next election comes around, I will be shocked if it's Trump or Biden still trying to run. And so it's going to be who's around next. Is it DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy? I mean, he's kind of the new Trump. But look, there's a Republican, a little bit more moderate woman named Nikki Haley who can reach suburban voters. She could be the establishment pick, as she seemingly already is. So I think she's thinking ahead. I don't think she's going to be in Trump's administration, but I don't think she is too worried about that either.
But we got a little bit of time to focus on 2028, Casey. Let's focus on 2024 for the moment. Most recent polling shows Trump has a lead over Biden in this what was a potential matchup, but now a likely matchup in November. Trump also holds leads in several key swing states. But are Haley's voters going to be willing to switch their allegiance to Trump come November? I would think that he needs a significant portion of Haley voters' support to beat Biden in November. What are your thoughts on that?
It would be great for Trump if he got the independent voters, but a lot of the polling shows that a lot of Haley's voters were Democrats. And it's unclear how many Democrats knew that the Democrat primary was pointless and that Biden was inevitable. And so they were meddling in the Republican primary. Some states, it's hard to do that. Some states, it's easy to vote in a different primary, So I think there is a real percentage of the Haley vote that was just straight up Democrats who would not vote for her in the general, but just hate Trump and were hoping to supplant Trump. And I think she does have some Democrat appeal. She has a real independent appeal. And the biggest thing, I'll hit it again, is the suburban voters, particularly women. Trump has struggled there. To get those suburban women, they in many ways decide the modern national elections. And so I think, Trump is going to probably be looking to get a female VP, if I can make a prediction, to replace Haley, to speak to those voters. I think that's why Alabama Senator Katie Britt gave the Republican response to Biden last night. She's a 42-year-old woman who sat in her family kitchen and talked about kitchen table issues. That's what the Republican mindset is Trump has the base, Trump has enthusiasm. We need to reach these suburban voters, particularly women. And that's our coalition to beat Biden.
Interesting analysis there, Casey. We'll see in the weeks and months ahead when former President Trump does pick his VP co-runner. It's March, Casey. There are still 8 long months before the November election. You've got questions about Biden's cognitive abilities and age and memories. Donald Trump, of course, is still facing nearly 100 criminal counts and 4 separate indictments. Just very briefly, what do you expect over the next 8 months?
Chaos in true Trump style. That's all I can predict. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of legal rulings and things. And it's not just from Trump's side. I think Biden is very old and, a health issue could pop up any day, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be fatal. It could just put him in the lurch, or maybe he's in the hospital. I don't want to predict or wish that on anyone, but it's, there's a lot of opportunity for chaos. And so, Dan, you have to read thecentersquare.com and listen to this podcast to stay informed.
Casey, you just stole my ending. Regardless, thank you for joining us. As Casey just said, listeners can keep up with all things presidential election at thecentersquare.com.